So let us take and echo the messenger one more time. Message to the Black Man, page 121, the year 1965. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it. Genesis chapter 26 to 28. The above was all necessary if the devils were to rule as a god of the world. They must conquer and bring into subjection all life upon the earth. Not land life alone, but they must subdue the sea and the light therein, master everything, until a greater master of God comes. We know that master is Master Muhammad, okay? Which would mean the end of their power over the life of our earth. We all bear witness that the scriptures quoted above refers to the Caucasian race. So here's the message explaining in plain language. When God said, let us, black folks, make man or mankind of kind of man, let us Asians, Asiatics, make a dead part of our world, the Caucasian, the dead Asian, let us make man and woman or mankind and womankind in our image and after our likeness. Let them, not just our DNA code, but our spiritual systems, our political systems, our military. Let's give them all the game so that they can literally take a fish and they'll put it inside of a tank and enslave that fish. They will literally take a cat and put it in the house, and the cat will not leave out the house. It'll become a house cat, a slave. They'll literally take their best friend, a dog, and put it on a leash and call it a pet. And the dog will look at them as the master and do whatever they tell that dog to do, good or evil. They will take a flying bird and capture it and lock it up in a cage and call that a pet. This is the mentality of us. So what do you think that type of Eurocentric cosmology would do with the gods and goddesses, black, brown, yellow, and red nations? What did you think the Portuguese would do in Africa? What do you think the British would do in China? The Romans would do in Arabia? They raped, robbed, and murdered and enslaved everything. I don't care if it was a camel, they took charge of that. If it was gold, if it was oil, if it was silver, if it was our women, if it was art, whatever it is, they had a mentality of subjugation, conquering, destruction. They wanted to rule over every square inch of the planet Earth. If, and I'm saying it didn't happen yet, I'm saying so you'll know now, ain't no aliens coming 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now. The aliens are on Earth. The aliens are these grafted devils. The aliens are those that are foreign to peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality. Okay? But we don't want you to think that we're saying all of our problems came from white folks. Not at all. In any shape. Don't misinterpret the messenger teachings. A lot of people do. Know what I mean? You'll hear a lot of people talking about the white folks, this, that, and the other. But understand this. I ain't talking about all the hoopla, all of the lies, all of the half-truths, all of the misunderstandings about messages. See, they hate when someone gives you facts, gives you the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Not my teachings, not the ministers, not the captains, not the secretary, not guesswork. Let's look at what the messenger taught us. This is the messenger teachings. The messenger teachings is this. Master Fard Muhammad, the supreme law God of the nation of Islam, came from a black Arab Muslim man who married and impregnated a white Jewish white woman, pure white woman. Black man, white woman. Muslim man, Jewish woman. Integration, Master Fard Muhammad, supreme savior of the world. So we can't be anti-Semitic. We are the original Jews. We are the original Hebrews. We are the original Kemites. We are the original Babylonians. We are the original Iraqis. We are the original Persians. We are the original Iranians. We are the original Arabs. We are the original Rabs. We are the original Lords, the Bil Alameen. We're the original gods. We're the original Anunnaki. There is no Anunnaki outside of the pantheon of black men, women, and children. Point blank. Case over. Everything else you hear outside of that sphere of reality is tricknology. Is Eurocentric racism. Yeah, you got some black brothers and sisters to jump on the bandwagon of white folks and rubber stamp the devil's tricknology. But can the devil fool a Muslim? Not nowadays. You see? The messenger tells us clear. We all bear witness that the scripture above refers to the Caucasian race. They are the only people who answer that description and work for the past 4,000 years. They have subdued the people and most every kind of living thing upon the earth. God has blessed them to exercise all their knowledge and blessed them with guides or prophets from among our own people and with the rain and seasons of the earth. Today, their wealth is great upon the earth. Their sciences of worldly good have sent them not only after the wealth of other than their own people, but even after the lives and property of their own kind. They have tried to repeople or replenish the earth with their own kind by skillfully killing off the black man and mixing their blood into the black woman. But the job is too big for them to ever conquer. The black nation, including its other three colors, brown, red, and yellow, outnumbered the Caucasian race 11-1. Genesis, God created them in his image. Genesis chapter 1, verse number 27. They are in the image and likeness of a human being, black man, but are altogether a different kind of human being than that of the black human being. So here, when you read Genesis chapter 1, the messenger teaches in Genesis chapter 1, verse 20, when it says, let us make man and our, it's not talking about aliens mixing that DNA with the women of the earth or some mortal women. It's talking about black men. And when you read your Bible carefully, I don't want to get too vulgar out here, but you read your Bible carefully, they even talk about these black brothers. I mean, and these black men, these white women was in love with these black men. And these gods shared their dominant DNA, their dominant RNA, their dominant genes with these recessive genes and produce a hybrid people like Obama, Master Fard Muhammad, Mariah Carey, what have you. Notice that the dominant gene outweighs the recessive gene. So if you have a white mother and a black father, the dominance of the black sperm produces a black baby. But even if you have a white father and a black mother, the dominance of the black woman's ovum or egg will produce a melanated or black baby. The black man and black woman produces 16 different shades of color is in the melanin of this rainbow skin. 4 black, 4 brown, 4 yellow, 4 red. We can even produce a baby that would be considered an albino. We can even, if you take a black man and a black woman, they produce an albino son. And that son is a true albino. And you take another black man and a black woman that has an albino daughter, and she is a true albino. And you have 100 albino men and 100 albino women on the island or on the continent, or on the desert or in the rainforest, and they interbreed, they will ultimately produce not an Asian or world citizen. They will produce a Caucasian or dead part of our world. They will produce a white baby, a white boy, a white girl. There's no aliens involved. This is the human genome. This is deoxyribonucleic acid. This is RNA. This is the messenger DNA. This is the genetics of the XY chromosome. This is the woman's egg that is able to do these things in nature. Okay? Now, our scientists, if they was to say, okay, can we graft below the Caucasian or the white? If they tried, and they tried, the scientists tried, the babies come out with translucent or clear skin, and they're all stillborn. None of them are physically alive. So you can take a donkey and let it have sex with a horse, and it can produce a grafted mule. But you can't take a mule and let the mule have sex, a male mule have sex with a female mule to give birth to a baby mule, because something in the dominant recessive genes of this donkey and this horse, nature is like, oh, we have limits. These are the limits of a law according to the Holy Quran. 114 surahs or chapters are the degrees. Okay, you can take an orange tree and a lemon branch, and you can take and cut off a lemon branch and cut off an orange branch, throw the orange branch in the trash, and connect the lemon branch to the orange tree and wrap it up with some paper tape or some beeswax or whatever. And that lemon branch or bud or start growing out of that orange tree, but it won't produce a lemon, nor will it produce an orange. It'll produce a grafted hybrid fruit that we call a grapefruit. So the grapefruit is actually an orange and a lemon, okay? This is how nature operates. This is not some alien technology. This is not some 36,000 or million-year old. This is 76 trillion years of biology, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, geography, geology, human history. In the beginning was the original people, the black people. Now, we had 13 tribes of Shabazz. We lost one 66 trillion years ago in the formation of our moon. We now have 12 tribes of Shabazz. Because that black man, this ain't white folks' fault, it's black folks' fault. See, people look at it, we blame white folks, we should take, no, we take responsibility. Before white folks were even a thought, black people killed black people. See, a lot of spooky people who's like, oh, before the white man, we had a planet with peace and unity and love. That's nonsense. That's not even according to the reality of nature, okay? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us 66 trillion years ago, a black man drilled a hole into near the center of the earth and blasted away the 13th tribe. He killed them. He almost killed 1 billion people. Killed himself. I mean, suicide, genocide, menocide, whatever way you want to put it. He killed everybody in that tribe of Shabazz. The earth lost its civilization. There was chaos on earth. Imagine a planet losing what we call today the ring of fire. Imagine that moon blasting away 240,000 miles away from the planet that we now call Earth. I mean, and absorbing all the water back onto this planet because of the atmosphere, the troposphere, the stratosphere, the ionosphere, the exosphere. Okay, it was all mathematics, cause and effects. Now, I mean, let me turn your attention to something that the messenger teaches us about these 12 or these 24 sciences, because I want you to understand that which you hear and read and study about the so-called Anunnaki. And I want you to listen to the language that I'm going to use. The Anunnaki are one of millions, billions of black gods, scientists that existed on the face of the planet Earth. So people just see this little small segment of our story. See, they hear his story. See, they study the white folks' story. They study the Eurocentric version, the linear history. They don't understand the circular story. I mean, the 360 degrees, the cipher of the gods. You know what I mean? But in our Sayers Arrive, let's look at this. Let me first just paraphrase the message to keep it simple. The message teaches us in our Sayers Arrive 1974 that we always had, well, not always, but at least for the past 6 trillion years, since 6 trillion years ago, we had 24 gods, black men. Not one of them was a woman. Love the goddesses, nothing against women. I'm not into male chauvinism. I believe in freedom, justice, and equality. However, there were 24 black men, 12 major, what you would call scientists, and 12 minor, what you would call scientists. In this day and time, you would call it 12 gods that were supreme and 12 gods that were what you would call minor. All right. They're known through the eons of times under thousands of different names, over 4,000 different languages, cultures, what have you. So when you hear people talk about the Gilgamesh and all this, that's child's play in the pantheon of the black man's history. We have no beginning nor ending. All right. So the message teaches us that these 24 scientists, they did not share their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding with anybody. They didn't cast the pearls amongst the swine, as they say in the Bible. Now, I mean, they didn't give the children's meat to the dogs, as the Bible puts it. Now, I mean, as the Kabbalion put it. Now, I mean, only when you're ready will the teacher appear. All right. So what they did was, the message teaches us, they passed this information, DNA, this knowledge and understanding, this culture, this science down from son to son to son. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But let us turn to this Our Sayers Arrive. I want to read something from page 96. This book was written in 1974 by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. To whom all praises are due forever. Okay. Page number 96. This is the chapter titled The Black Man. Okay, let me read this to you. Be patient with me. This is chapter 19. According to the teachings to me of man's histories by Allah God, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, praise is due to him forever. The great Mahdi and the Messiah that the world has been expecting to come for the last 2,000 years has come and is going about his work as has been predicted that he would do. He taught me for 3 years, night and day, on the histories of the two people, black and white. What he taught me verifies the teachings of the Bible and the Holy Quran, if rightly understood, of the two people, black and white. He said that there was no birth record of the black man, and therefore none can say how old the black nation is. As far back as he said, A record has been kept. It dates 76 trillion years. These years, 76 trillion, were divided into periods of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 be 78 instead of 76 trillion. I will not go into the finer details here. I hope to go into the details in an analysis of our Lord's, Master Fard Muhammad's teachings to me in a book entitled Black and White. Let's pause there for a moment. Messenger Elijah Muhammad was not able to write that book on black and white and go into the finer details. But he did leave us enough knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Okay. Let's look at our lessons, our 99 actual facts. The 99 actual facts by Master Fard Muhammad gives us the answers that we need. When he teaches us, and I'm going to reread that part for you. As far back, he said, a record has been kept. It dates 76 trillion years. These years, 76 trillion, were divided into pairs of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 be 78 instead of 76 trillion. Now, the messenger teaches us that we have actual physical records that were written and preserved, and they last for 76 trillion years. Now, I do not know how our ancestors were able to do that. I can surmise, I can speculate, I can use educated guesses, whatever. But the reality is, neither I, nor you, nor anyone else in this universe knows how these ancients were able to preserve that information, except for the 12 major scientists. Now, if you was to ask a angel of Allah, they could give you an answer. I mean, if you ask a minister, they can give you an answer. If you ask a private soldier, they could give you an answer. Because Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. So I'm saying, I don't know. But I'm saying, if I was to try to do something like that, imagine us 76 trillion years from now, how can we hide information? Where can we hide the knowledge of God? We can't put it 29,141 feet high on top of Mount Everest. We can't take it to Israel, to the lowest point on the planet Earth. We can't put it in the deepest ocean. We can't go to the Pacific, the Atlantic, and the Indian Oceans. We can't put it inside of the atom of mind. But we are taught by Messenger Elijah Muhammad, the mind of man is infinite, capable of accomplishing anything that the brain can conceive. So if I wanted to hide the reality of self from self, I would simply put it in your reptilian brain. I would simply put it in the subconsciousness of your own being. And if you had a calcified pineal gland, if you wasn't eating to live, if you was not thinking mathematically in your thought processes, God's adds and multiplies, devils divides and subtract. If you was not using the 7 universal sciences, it'd be easy for you to have amnesia. You wouldn't even know what your real name is. You would think that God was a spook. Okay? So it's not impossible, because Master Fard Muhammad teaches us, how can this or that be impossible when we live in a universe today that once upon a time it did not exist? That mathematics takes away the impossibility because we live in a universe that exists, and once upon a time the universe did not exist. That gets rid of anything in the black man's spirit as being impossible. The real question is it practical? How improbable is it? Certain things are so improbable, we define it as being impossible. Okay? Let us read on. Chapter 19, The Black Man. As far back as he said a record has been kept, it dates 76 trillion years. These years, 76 trillion, were divided into pairs of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 be 78. Elijah, what you mean? Why would it be 76 be 78? He's saying there's actually 6 trillion years between each period. You see our sun, moon, and star over here? Know what I mean? This sun is 78 trillion years old. Star, 72 trillion years old. That moon, 66 trillion years old. 66 trillion years plus 6 trillion years. Remember, the messenger said, I like to quote him. He said, these years, 76 trillion, are divided into pairs of 6 trillion years. The Holy Quran says the same thing, but in an Arabic different way. The Holy Quran teaches us that Allah created the heavens and earth in 6 periods. The Bible teaches us 6 days, okay? So this 6, equality, the moon 66 trillion years old. Add 6 to 66 trillion years. Add 6 to that moon, which is 66 trillion years. It brings you to what? 72 trillion. The star. From this point to this point, from this point to this point, on this 5-pointed star, the distance between each point is what? Exactly 72 degrees. It's 5 points. What's 5 points times 72 degrees? 5 times 72 equals 360 degrees. So from the moon, 66 trillion years, to our star is exactly 6 trillion years, which brings the star to 72 trillion years. This is one of the worldwide mistakes you see amongst Egyptologists, Pan-Africans, pseudoscientists, what have you. They look at the pyramids of Giza. Mustafa Muhammad said in 1933 that the Great Pyramid of Giza weighs 14 billion pounds. It consists of 2,800,000 blocks. Each block weighing an average of 2.5 tons or 5,000 pounds. It is 481 or 764 feet high, meaning if you measure it from underneath or from the surface. Now, they say that the pyramids are aligned with Orion's belt or the stars. No! Orion's belt are the heavens, are the stars, the law of correspondence. The heavens are aligned with the earth. See, Europeans got this thing upside down. They got y'all thinking the gods is up on the clouds in space in the heavens and the mortals are on the earth. No! The gods are on the earth. The black nation is on earth. In ancient Kemet, Black Egypt, in Nubia, Sudan, in Kush, Ethiopia, the Olmec civilization, the ancient people of Babylon or Iraq, the ancient people of Persia or Iraq, all of the people in ancient China and India and Europe, the island, were all black people. They were all Asiatics. Asia means world. Ati means tribe or member. Ati, Asiatic. Atic means tribe or member, or what we call in this day and time a citizen. The Asiatic or the Asiatic means the world citizens, meaning we didn't need borders. We didn't need limitations. Our thing was like everybody on earth is black. We didn't separate the dark skin from the light skin. I mean, we didn't say the light skinned people are Chinese. I mean, you know, those with this phenotype, those with this family disposition, this black man that made it with this black woman and produced these elongated brains, they were all family. We call them brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, grandparents, great-grandparents, nieces, nephews, whatever. We were all the family of God originally. Europeans came in and started what they call classifications. The Jurassic period. They separated the insects from the bugs, the black from the brown, and the brown from the yellow, and the yellow from the red, and said the white is superior. That's technology. That's their concept. But the messenger goes on to say that these years, 76 trillion, were divided into periods of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 be 78. Now, short version, simple version. The sun, the moon, 66 trillion years old, okay? 6 trillion years added to our moon brings us to our star, 72 trillion years ago. 6 trillion years added to our star, which is 72 trillion years, brings us to what? Our red sun, 78 trillion years ago. Now, the sun is 78 trillion years old, according to Master Fard Muhammad, 99 actual facts. He said the sun, the 90th surah of the Holy Quran is called Al-Shams, or the sun. He said it's 2,679,785 miles in circumference. Straight through is 850,000 miles, or the diameter. Half of that is pi, or the radius. 426,500 miles is the radius of our sun. 426,500 times 2 equals 850,000 miles is the diameter of the sun. Islam is mathematics. Mathematics is Islam. We know this stuff in our head. We don't need no books, none of that. We know all of the lessons, freestyle. All right. So when we say that sun, moon, and star represents what Messenger Elijah Muhammad is saying here, it makes perfect sense because he said, quote, these years, he said, as far back as he said a record has been kept, it dates 76 trillion years. So here he's placing the earth at the age of 76 trillion years. But if we had 6 trillion years between each manifestation, the sun is not created. It's made of hydrogen and helium. So the moon is not created. It blasted away from the earth. The stars are not created. The stars were sparked from human beings on earth, sparking atoms and out of in what we call our galaxy 72 trillion years ago. As on earth as it is above. Not as it is above as it is on earth. We were the gods, family. Think about that for a moment. Let that sink in for a moment. He said that as far as a record has been kept, it dates 76 trillion years. Now imagine that. We're on Earth 76 trillion years ago. The sun is 78 trillion years ago. So our sun, the message said the original man wasn't like we is in this day and time, in this form. I mean, you know, we've been around 76 trillion. You know how many times we done went through different mutations and transformations, whatever the case may be. Our hands didn't always look like this. We didn't always have fingernails, eyebrows, teeth, two nares, eyes like this, ears like this. Now, I mean, we didn't always reproduce through the black woman. Now, I mean, you have in 2023, you have hermaphrodites. You have babies born with penises and vaginas in 2023. You have earthworms. You have male seahorses that carry the baby for the females. Know what I mean? So you have to understand the way our goddess, our mother nature, operates with the God, the law of polarity, as we'll get into those 7 universal sciences. Know what I mean? Short version. So the earth is 76 trillion years old. The sun is 78 trillion years old. The sun being made 78 trillion years ago, it took 2 trillion years for a piece of that sun to spin off. A piece of sun, now we call it, in the core of the earth is what? A sun. Inside the earth, you crack open the earth, what's in there? A sun. Melted nickel, hot lava, magma, fire is inside the earth because the earth came from that sun 78 trillion years ago. But it took 2 trillion years for the earth to cool off and produce the waters and the atmosphere and the ma'at, or the balance, or the peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality for the physical black man to come up out of the oceans. And that man reproduced himself in that early phase of our development. To this very day, we still have nipples just like women that was back then was able to breastfeed the new seed or the new gods. We passed the information, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, DNA code from father to son the sun, the sun. This is what we did for 2 trillion years until we produced the womb of man, or the black womb man. Father God, Mother Nature. The law, the seven sciences, the other law is the law of gender. There's gender in all things. There is estrogen and testosterone in every man, black or white, on the face of this planet. There is testosterone and estrogen in every woman, black or white, on the face of this planet. In every baby. You have that gender. You have that XY chromosome. It is in all things. This is how the gods, not aliens, not alien DNA. Think about this. Imagine a universe, a planet, wherein you see a liquid sperm fertilizing an egg, and 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, 16 becomes 32, so on, so until eventually, boom, 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 9 months later, a baby is born. Here you have a universe, a solar system, based above as it is beneath. As it is beneath, so it is above. As it is within, so it is without. Imagine a black woman waiting 9 months. Imagine a solar system needing 9 planets. And then God saying, let there be light. Imagine the sun sparking. Imagine that baby coming into the light. How do the baby come into the light? The Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The black woman's water breaks. And that baby comes out 9 months or 9 planets later. And what is the first word of that Chinese, African, Indian, European baby? Allah! It is born calling on the black man as God. An arm, a leg, an arm, and a head. Not in the English sense, but in the inflection sense. So let us look at some more of this, the black man from Messenger Elijah Muhammad. He said, a law in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me that there are not any gods who live forever. That wisdom and work may live 6,000 or 25,000 years, but the actual individual may have died within 100 or 200 years, or the longest that we have a record of around 1,000 years. So the Bible teaches us, because of the mixture of the Anunnaki or the gods with the mortal women, or the black man with the white, we live on average like 120 years. All right, DNA compromise. But originally, we used to live like 1,000 years. And we had the moon that we had 66 trillion years ago. Before that, we had the planet Mars as our moon. And the people that lived on the planet Mars, aliens, lived on average 1,200 Earth years. But the people on Mars, according to Messenger Elijah Muhammad, were inferior to us. They didn't come here and do anything like mixing that DNA with us, and they were superior than us. They was rookies compared to the gods on the face of this planet. We had UFOs, or flying vehicles, that put mountains upon the earth 66 trillion years ago. Our language wasn't Aramaic. We didn't write cuneiform. We used mental telepathy. We didn't have to say or write anything. We communicated from mind to mind. Our pineal gland was that dominant, that pure. Anything that we wanted to see or do, we simply seen and did. Anything we wanted to say, we just mentally thought it. And those thoughts traveled 24 billion miles per second. Our babies were born with 7.5 ounce brains, 14 billion brain cells and neurons, generating a power equal to 1/70,000 of a volt of electricity. Our thoughts travel 24 billion miles per second. The black man was the gods. The black women were the goddess. The black babies were the godlings. There were no Anunnaki. The Anunnaki is just a name of thousands of other names that we gave to ourselves through the annals of our story. The messenger goes on, page number 97, quote, There is no God living who was here in the creation of the universe, but they produce gods from them, and their wisdom lives in us. Their wisdom lives in us. See, we don't understand that scientists, white scientists and black scientists, they now understand human beings, trees, fish, worms, atoms, what have you, can transmit information from atoms and genes. Think about that. If you got 100 trees in a forest and one of the trees get a disease, the other trees will know that that tree has a disease. Think about that for a moment. If the tree has a disease, it can communicate with the other trees. Now, what about human beings? Jesus told him, he said, you know, if you see the lilies of the field, ain't nobody planted them. They grow perfect. You ain't got to come out and water them. You know what I mean? You ain't got to put no artificial fertilizer, none of that. And they will naturally just blossom perfectly. Mathematics, the beauty of this universe. Black ants cannot produce red ants. Black ants produce black ants. Red ants produce red ants. Sometimes black ants give birth to grafted white ants or albino ants. Sometimes black gorillas give birth to white albino gorillas. It's in the original, but the white can't produce the black. The black produces the white, family. It's dominant. The Austrian monk Gregor Mendel, look his name up. Gregor Mendel, he studied sweet peas and other things, and he realized, oh, I could see this in 90 days about grafting. He's like, yo, there are dominant and recessive genes in everything. I could take black rabbits, black hamsters, black mice, and produce white hamsters, white mice, white rats, white birds from black. That's not new. That's not something unique. That's not some pseudoscience of a mythological Dr. Yaqub Malik Shabazz. Dr. Yaqub was a real man. Your Bible calls him Jacob. The book of genes, the book of genetics says that Jacob is going to mix some rods and put some type of fluid in it where when the cattle and the sheep come drink it, they're going to become grafted. They're going to go from black to brown or ring straight until they produce a pure white one. So here in the book of Genesis, 4,000 years, you have a man called Jacob. What is Jacob in Hebrew? Yaqub. 4,000 years ago, you got a man known as Yaqub grafting some beasts. So why would you think that Elijah Muhammad just made this stuff up off the top? No, this is ancient sciences. It's just that it has been misinterpreted, misunderstood for 6,000 years on the face of this planet. The messenger says human beings are created according to the life of the universe, planets. Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me that the original designer and maker of the universe created it on time, and there is an end to it. See, the Master Muhammad told one day the sun going to burn out. That sun is 108 times larger than planet Earth. Remember, I said the sun is 2,679,085 miles in circumference. The Earth is only 24,526,000 miles in circumference. So if you was to divide this circumference of the Earth into the sun, you get 108. It's 100. The sun is exactly as much from mine. It's 108 times larger than the planet Earth. Okay, so the message goes on. Scientists have learned by study that everything we see that we call universe is not everlasting. It is gradually decaying. The Bible and the Holy Quran both verify this decay of the universe and that one day a wiser God than them all will exist in a new universe. A new universe means that it will not be exactly like this one that we know. According to the hints of the Holy Quran, it will be a better one than we have. Naturally, after experimenting with a thing that has been made, we can improve on a new make of it. Naturally, see, that's nature, family. You know what I mean? Now, I don't want you to get confused with the pseudoscience. Pseudoscientists be like, there's multiple universes. No, it's not. I mean, think about that for a moment. Islam is mathematics, mathematics is Islam. If you had multiple universes, that's like somebody in the bathtub with multiple bubbles. I mean, it would not take the universe, the one word. I mean, if you had multiple universes, say you had 8 of them or 8 billion of them, all 8 billion would be one universe. The European puts all these science ideas out there, and now people just jump on and run with it. It got to be true. The white man, he talked about string theory, and Albert Einstein said E equals MC. It's like the white man had a whole bunch of stupid, spooky scientists. One of the things they could never reconcile in physics was energy. It's elementary when you look at Master Muhammad teachings. That thing is energy cannot be created nor destroyed. You know what I mean? And they argue with religious people like, y'all believe in God, we believe in energy. Y'all believe in a creator, we believe in a Big Bang. Y'all believe in causation, we believe in nothing. You're saying the same thing, just in a different way. Think circular. You know what I mean? We in a nation says the same thing, just in a different way. Scientists call it energy. Religion, Sunnis, Christians, Jews, Buddhists, Hindu, they call it the creator by countless names. The nomenclature or scientific names don't mean it. They basically saying there's one creator of creation. All right? Monotheism, as they like to put it. You know what I mean? They like to say Akhenaten started it. No, he didn't. Abraham was the father mono. No, he wasn't. We always believed in one energy, one creator, which was the exact same thing, just different names. We call it, in this phase and in this level of our comprehension, the mind, not the brain. The brain can be seen, the brain can be weighed, the brain is limited. We say the mind. The mind is the exact same thing as what religious people call alcoholic or the creator, or what physicists and scientists refer to as energy. It can't be created. It can't be destroyed. It exists everywhere. It's omnipotent, it's all powerful, it's all knowing. You know what I mean? It's saying the same thing, just in a different way. See, our people look at it like our ancestors were some stupid people. Our ancestors were way more advanced than us in this day and time. Let us go on. The message goes on to say, the black man's gods, page number 97. The black man's gods, according to the history he taught me, have all been the wisest. They made the white man after their order and wisdom, except the knowledge of how to bring into reality and perfection their vision and idea of what they want to perceive equal to the black man's wisdom. See, when we let white folks, the Asians, let the Caucasians, or the dead part of our world, subdue the earth, when we made them in our image and after our likeness, our mathematics, we did not give them the power to create. They can only make. See, we can create a tree from the atom. They can take the tree, cut down the tree, plane the tree, and make a wooden chair from that tree. They can't create a tree. They can only make a tree. See? They can make a tank from studying the turtle, but they can't create a turtle. They can make the most sophisticated tank from that turtle. They can make the most sophisticated submarine, nuclear submarine, from studying the created well. Now you ask them, how can you take atoms and produce a well with those eyes, those teeth, that heart, that brain, that skin, those skills, that mathematics? They'd be like, listen, that's some God stuff. That's some Anunnaki stuff. We can't create no well, but we can study the well, We can learn from the black civilization. We can go amongst black, brown, yellow, red civilizations, rape, rob, and murder them, steal their books, burn their libraries, kidnap their scholars, and misuse their technology and make all kinds of things. And that's really what they did. Benjamin Franklin, they all plagiarists. That's all they did was they had ancient Egyptian books, manuscripts from all over the world. They decided trying to understand it. The Rosetta Stones. Once they learn our information, see, we never taught them the sciences because we knew they would misuse. We knew they wasn't ready. See what I'm saying? You know, like when it came to the ancient sciences, we always hid it. The Chinese would not reveal to the Red Devils how to do martial arts and the sciences of kung fu and jujitsu and ninja wa or the black men. Now, they kept that as a science and secret amongst themselves. Some of the house Japanese sold out and would reveal information. But Native American Indians, their root doctors, their herbalists, they would not reveal it to the Caucasoids, the paleface, the snake tongue. But some of the Indians fell in love with the devil. Some of them sold out and would reveal, this is how you can read the trails. I mean, you see this grass anytime this is how you read the skies. And once the devil start peeping game, they like, oh, okay. The people of Africa put them down with technology, how to make forge iron with carbon to make hardened steel. They like, oh, that Bronze Age stuff is the rap. Forget that corny crap. We now see, oh, they mixing saltpeter with we see how they making these bombs for their festivals. We could use that as weapons. We can study like the gods, and we could take over because they have the nature of goodness. They'll never see us coming. So they came, as the Bible puts it, behold, a pale horse. Now, I mean, wherever they went, hell followed with them. Death came. Now, I mean, and the message goes on to say, the white man only made, not created, the white man only made, formed, and put into service those things that met with the cravings and necessities of his people. The white man was given the power of vision and different ways of life to enable him to build an unlike world from what we have had throughout the millions, billions, and trillions of years. No God who is going to rule the people of earth universally as the white man has ruled for the past 6,000 years was to be given a history or knowledge of the God who ruled the people before him. This is in order to keep the present God from patterning after the former God and to force him to use his own wisdom in making a world and not a world patterning after previous wisdom of the gods before him. See, the message teaches us prior to Master Muhammad's father, Alfonso Shabazz, he was the 24th scientist. He had 23 scientists under him. He had 11 other brothers that knew the black man was God. The other 12, they didn't know that. Only 12 knew student Roman rules of Islam. Only 12 could tell you the original man is the Asiatic black man to make it on the cream of planet Earth, God of the universe. Master Muhammad is the first God in over 66 trillion years to reveal that to the general public, to wake us up back to the knowledge of self. You see? When they write the cycle for 25,000 years, it's in accordance with the 25,000 year or a year to every mile of the planet Earth, which is approximately 24,896 miles. So the scientists, they could not reveal to you who the black man really was. That information was kept back. And the 12 scientists would only teach that to their sons. They didn't go around building. They didn't hold ciphers, not in the public, you see. But these 12 minor scientists will be considered gods or supreme scientists to the average one in the year 2023. You may have a scientist that know how to make rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. Scientists that know how to communicate with animals. Scientists that know how to eat to live and live for over 1,000 years. You see? So each scientist specialized in different fields, but only 12 knew the reality of God. And that reality from Master Fard Muhammad through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is now coming to all of the FY and MGT who are the 5%, the poor righteous teachers, who do not believe in the teachings of the 10%, and are all wise and know who the true and living God is, and teach that the true and living God is the Son of Man. Not the Anunnaki. The Son of Man is black folks. Okay? And our job is to teach the reality or the truth, the haqq, Allahu ana al-haq, as the 22nd surah of the Holy Quran in ayat or verse 6 says, Allahu ana al-haq, the God is nothing but the reality. Our duty is to civilize the uncivilized, to teach them the arts and sciences of the entire universe. Okay? So the messenger says on page number 99, the black man or gods of the black man are infinitely wise. They are being aroused to their wisdom today to rule the people again throughout the ages of time. The present gods, Master Fard Muhammad's wisdom is infinite. No scientist can see an end to this man's wisdom coming in the future. That is why the Bible and the Holy Quran refer to him as the greatest and wisest of them all, and say that he will set up a kingdom or civilization that will live forever. The black man in America is not an example of the original black man, for he has been used by his slave masters for 4 centuries in what we call experimentation. Through the experimentation by the wicked slave masters who were made without love or mercy for black people, they have the black man in America before the world as a wrecked, robbed, and spoiled human being without knowledge of himself or anyone else. And he is used by the white man as a tool for whatever purposes the white man sees fit. He is called a Negro by them. The name means something dead, lifeless, neutral, not that nor this. They call a slave after their own names because he is the property of the slave master until he is redeemed, although he is a member of the original black nation. To restore him back to his people, he must be re-educated to give him the knowledge of self and the knowledge of those who deprived him of the knowledge of self. This knowledge of self will unite him unto his own kind with love of self and kind. So, Messenger Elijah Muhammad explains to us that our people are the original people. There are no aliens or life forms on Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, or the broken up countless Plutos out there. But there are conscious people on the face of the planet Earth that believe as a law God who came to person the Master Fard Muhammad believes, who believes as his first, last, and only messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad believes. Let me now turn your attention to Al Says Arrive, page number 41 for a brief moment. The messenger says to us, don't think white people are fools. They are wise. It's you who are the fool. Don't take them for nothing like ignorant people. They are wise people. They are gods of their own world. Let me repeat that, family. They are gods of their own world. So a lot of people are like, oh, white man, the devil, this, that, and the other. Yes, But you're forgetting the 7 universal laws, the law of polarity that Dr. Yaqub Malik Shabazz discovered. Yaqub meaning changer, Malik means master, Shabazz means godly or godlike. Not God, but godly or godlike. These white folks are gods of their own world. They don't believe in a mystery God. They teach you about a mystery God, but they're counted amongst the 5%ers. They're known as Mason sons or my sons or Shriners or white Muslims. They study Islam for 35 to 50 years. And you'll see them wearing their fezzes and, saying that name is Shabazz, and they bear witness. I mean, they, in reality, teach the black Masons tricknology. See, the black Masons think that they're masters, but the white man is the God. He tricks them. He fools them. The messenger said he puts a shade on the light, where Islam don't have no shade on. We just give them 360 degrees of light. The sun doesn't have a shade. But they put a shade on black man's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and let him foolishly think that he studied this order and that order, and he's, the Holy Quran teaches us from the 24 scientists, woe to those that peep and mutter, those that form secret councils, the supreme scientists and the angels of Allah are going to kill them all, mentally. And that mental death is destroying the tricknology that they believe in. Because they're teaching tricknology to you, making you think that that is the way of the black man. That is the way of Master Fard Muhammad. But they're trying to emulate and imitate the 24 scientists. And that's what makes it a sin. The messenger goes on to tell us, he says, how long was that? We can't tell. We weren't there. He was the only one in a whole entire dark universe. Talking about that first God. He had to wait until the atom of life produced brains to think what he needed. How long was that? I don't know, brothers. But he was a black man. A black man coming out of total darkness at that time. We all could say that we were produced by a white God. But there was no light, nor even any white anywhere. There was all darkness. So God revealed to me. In that darkness, which had no end to it there, that darkness created an atom of life. And the color had to be black, as there was no light. Therefore, it had to be the color of the thing that created it. All praise is due to Allah. Hating black. The late Minuteman came yesterday and turned you into a fool. You have been here so long that the record could not be kept on planets. They couldn't write it on the planets and make it stay there. Only you planned to betray the time that life had been in the universe. That's all. You hate black and are out here trying to kill me because I teach you your natural self. I don't like black. White people made you hate black. Not so much they hate black. They wish today that they were black. Oh, yes, they do. I received lots of letters from white people wanting to join and follow me. Lots of them. They are wise. The messenger goes on and explains, but you don't have that creative mind. That's the creative mind they have. It was taken from you 6,000 years ago to allow them to build a world after their own thoughts. I say, my friends, you won't believe it if I keep talking to you about your own God. Let's turn to page 121 now, and I'll say it as arrived. The message goes on to say, pardon me, about these white gods. He says, quote, the white race are the gods of their world. The white man put us on wheels, you say. Oh, but we had wheels before. That is all right if we did have wheels. He himself put you on a new wheel, one different from the one you were using for transportation. The white man moved you off the camel's back and the donkey's back, and he put you onto fast-powered transportation such as automobiles, and he put you on wings in the sky. All of this was new compared to what we had. So we would like to show you that the white man himself has made a new world. Therefore, should we be surprised when the God of righteousness comes in and makes a new world, and that he does not want any material of the old evil world? Are you surprised, or is it due to your desire to remain with the old wicked world? The next world is a world of righteousness. You do not want to be righteous. You want to have freedom, justice, and equality, but you still would like the wicked to continue to rule because of your desire to be wicked. The God of righteousness, who will rule in the hereafter, will have an unlimited rule and not a limited rule like the rule of Yakub. How must the God of righteousness begin? What thought do we have of him and his beginning? He makes all things new. The first way to bring about something new is to change the way of thinking of the people. When you have removed from the people the old mind and idea, then you can insert new ideas into their minds. This is done by the old being attracted by a new way of teaching, a new school of learning, to condition their minds to that thing that you are about to present to them that is altogether new and different from what they have been accustomed to. This is page 122. The message goes on to explain, we lack the power to hinder him. There is no God or nation with equal power to exert against him to prevent his idea from becoming what he wills them to be. Whatever he desires to be, he is wise enough to bring it to pass. Many times this wisdom is misunderstood, and the people think that it is some example of the person. We say wisdom, power, force. There is no power or force of power until we have the wisdom to produce it. He makes all things new. He teaches us that he could use nothing of the old world, and that after the removal of the old world, he's to bring about the new world. Allah God does not want the old God to think that he is weak in wisdom and knowledge and power to bring something altogether new without using their old wicked material. This is like the creation of us. In the beginning, the God who created us had no material to use to begin a creation. He had only himself. Therefore, out of darkness and the thoughtless and invisible, he brought out the visible vision and thought and idea. He made a brain which had the power to cover the sphere of our thinking and to produce from that thought what image or vision that the brain cells could conceive. These things at that time were all new. There was no plan or universe except his. This is our Father, the black man, the maker. The wisdom, idea, and way of thinking of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, is superior to any way of believing today. There is no one to hinder his image or thought for that which has not yet been conceived in our brain. He goes after the root of all things, like our Black Father did in the beginning when he built the universe out of nothing. He is as one sitting out in space with no material of space to make something altogether new. He goes after the root in making this new world of people. As he said, quote, first he makes a new mind for us and a new way of thinking. He teaches us a different education, one that we have never had before. He gives us education on the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of gods, not of prophets, but of the gods of the prophets of the past. He builds our minds according to the way gods think and not the way of thinking of servants or prophets. The prophets of the past were inspired, and their inspiration was true. For the past 6,000 years, there was no God present who was superior to Yakub. For the past 6,000 years, there was no God present superior than Yakub. Our God and scientists were not permitted to interfere with the people of Yakub and their civilization, nor in the way in which they were thinking. That is why they, meaning the white race, would kill prophets who came among them teaching the way of righteousness to the people, because Yakub's people, the white race, was not to build a civilization on the basis of righteousness. The white race was to build a civilization just the opposite of righteousness, and this he has done. This is the reason why the God of righteousness and justice cannot use the white race's way of civilization. The God of righteousness must remove the white race's way of civilization altogether and build upon a new foundation. As I keep repeating, the thoughts, the minds of the people must be so conditioned into the way of thinking of the new world that we must not think in terms of the new world being a part of another old world. Even our education of this wicked world will not be a part of the education of the new world. The message teaches us that in the hereafter, we will not even speak the English language. In the future, there'll be no such thing as the Nation of Islam. FOI, Fruit of Islam. No such thing as Muslim girls in training. No such thing as any of this present world as we know it today. He, Allah, makes all things new. He's not going to make anything new. He makes all things new. See, the law of vibration. See, when you vibrate the atoms, you could bring in new planets, new suns, new stars, new genetics, new DNA, new way of thinking. You see, just with the vibration of Allah. All right. Let us turn our attention to page 108 and look at how not the fallen angels or the sons of God or some mystical angels came down to earth and is going to do this stuff. The angels, according to Messenger Elijah Muhammad, are human beings. The angels are the messenger's messengers. They don't have physical wings coming out their backs. They don't have a golden halo, but they do have authority. They do have golden knowledge, wisdom, and understanding if you were to listen to it and accept it and take heed to it. It will literally vibrate into your subconsciousness and activate the God that's already subconsciously asleep in you. It will show you the God or goddess in the mirror. You won't have to turn to me or any minister or the messenger or Master Farmer. You will be what the messenger calls a self-savior. You will remake your own world. Anything that you will, anything that you put your mind to, you will be able to show and prove it. This is how these angels come and why they come. So therefore, the world of the white race is filled with confusion. All this Anunnaki, UFOs, aliens, people is just confused right now, all right? So therefore, the world of the white race is filled with confusion, and they do not know what to do themselves. They have confused the black man to the extent that the black man does not know now whether he should go for himself or remain seeking guidance from the devil. But the law of God will not let any of us be blind today to the truth. This is why he came himself, to be sure that there will not be any mistake made. Allah God makes for himself a messenger. Then Allah God guides the messenger himself. He does not, listen family, he does not leave the messenger to do all of the guiding. These pseudoscientists, spooky ministers, spooky captains, they're trying to make you think, oh, I'm like the messenger teachers, is all I need is message to the black man for America. And you see them absolutely in poverty, hell, confused, powerless. That's not the messenger teachings. This is word for word what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in his last tome, his last holy book called Al Says Around, page 108. Read it again. Quote, but the Lord God will not let any of us be blind today to the truth. This is why he came himself, to be sure that there will not be any mistake made. Allah God makes for himself a messenger. Then Allah God guides the messenger himself. He does not leave the messenger to do all of the guiding. Then Allah God sends angels to see that his guidance is carried out like he taught the messenger to do. Then the Lord God guides the messenger himself. He does not leave the messenger to do all of the guiding. Then the Lord God sends angels to see that his guidance is carried out like he taught the messenger to do. Al Says around page 108. I'm telling you where he said it. Now, you can't run around pointing out the angels because the angels are human beings. They men. They could be killed. They could be shot, stabbed on. It's like you don't understand. You may not believe in the angels of Allah. Satan believes in the angels of Allah. Satan know who the angels of Allah are. They ain't worrying about you teaching your spooky stuff. You can teach that crap. You'll get plenty of money, plenty of people, all that kind of stuff. But if you're talking about the raw, original, divine, direct teachings of the Master, Al-Malik, if you're talking about Master Fard, the obligatory, Muhammad, the praiseworthy, and his first, last, and only Rasul, messenger, Elias, Elijah, Muhammad, now you're dealing with some reality now. Now, I mean, and Satan has a problem with that. I want to now turn your attention to the Holy Quran. Let's turn to this Holy Quran.